What's up, everyone? I am back with another new album review. A lot of you were asking about this one, and of fucking course I wasn't gonna pass up the opportunity to review one of my most anticipated albums of 2020. That album is the new album from the Denver, Colorado thrash band Havok. The album is called Five. It's called V or Five, however you want to look at it. Let's talk about it. So as I normally like to do with my reviews, I kind of talk about where I came on board with a particular artist. So Havok formed back in 2004, and at this point they've released 5 albums, but I didn't really get into them until the 2017 album Conformicide, and I was all over that motherfucker. It's so fucking good. It takes what I love about thrash metal and what I loved about a lot of the bands back in the day when they started to push boundaries and experiment a little. It had all of that shit in it, and it was just everything I wanted to hear at that time. So of course, I was really anticipating the release of this new album. And this is also the first album with new bassist Brandon Bruce, which he has some fucking big shoes to fill, but we'll get into that. Let's just go ahead and start from where the album begins. The first thing we hear in this album, the intro to the song Post-Truth Era, it is an immediate homage to the song Blackened by Metallica. If you don't hear it, something is wrong with you, but it's there and it's truly appreciated from somebody like me, but it leads into this fucking killer beginning song on this album. It's just balls out thrashy. There's killer riffs. There's really great sort of like harmony riffs that would make like any Megadeth fan totally happy. And there's a lot of that on this album. There's a lot of really well written and well performed riffs. And right out of the gate, Havok is showing us why some consider them the best modern thrash metal band around. And also, right off the bat, you have the lyrics of David Sanchez kind of punching you in the fucking face with this sort of don't trust the government, don't trust authority, don't trust fucking anyone. And honestly, the way that he writes lyrics, it's part of what I miss about old school thrash. Because sure, some of it's real on the nose. And, you know, I don't know, for those of us who are like-minded, which I feel like in many ways my politics kind of align with David Sanchez, it may seem like, yeah, we know, don't trust the government. But in this day and age, these kind of lyrics are really fucking important because there's a lot of people that just forgot about questioning your government and I don't know, and not just doing whatever you're fucking told. And that's what is missing from a lot of modern metal these days. It's almost like a lot of metal fans who back in the day were like, yeah, we're not gonna fucking take it. They're now like, maybe we should listen to what the president says because, you know, he got elected for a reason, right? Fuck that. I'm not one of those people. I'm 42 years old and I still say fuck the government, and I don't trust anyone that has that much fucking money and authority. Anyway, let's not go off on a tangent, but I feel like that's appropriate for this particular album and for Havok in general. Let's move on to Fear Campaign, the second song, which is so fucking great. It has like a great stomping gallop to it, and it's got, I don't know, the dual guitar thing, I have to drive this point home really fucking hard. So David Sanchez and Reese Scruggs, they are a guitar duo that is bringing the bar back up to where I think it should be. There are amazing performances. They're so tight. The interplay is amazing. And also on this album, there's a lot of guitar parts that on first listen, you know, you might have missed that because something is in the background or it's just layered in a little bit. But once you start peeling the layers, you're like, there's so much going on this fucking album guitar-wise. And there's an amazing fucking midsection breakdown in this song, followed by a ridiculously good guitar solo. So far, obviously, I really like this album. At this point, I could just stop right here because pretty much how I feel with these first couple tracks, that just continues and in certain ways becomes more intense throughout the fucking album. Third song is Betrayed by Technology, which is more of a mid-tempo, really fucking heavy song. But this brings a good point, and one of the reasons why I really love this album is because there is a variety of songs. They're not just giving you this sort of narrow view of thrash metal. They're not just giving you what that 20-year-old metal blogger thinks metal should be. They're not tied to any traditions or standards. It's just, these are dudes that clearly love thrash metal, but they're not stuck in the past. There's a modern element to all of these songs too, and it's just done so fucking well. Havok are as close as it gets modern metal-wise to the integrity and sense of exploration that a lot of those old thrash bands had, and some of us actually kind of took for granted. If you go back to a lot of the classic thrash metal bands and you listen to their progression, that sort of thing overall I think has been lost with newer bands, but not with Havok, and that's why I fucking love them and this album. Next up, we got the song Ritual of the Mind, which once again, there's this fade in that just sounds like a huge homage to Eye of the Beholder by Metallica. So I don't know. At this point, I'm thinking, did they make this album just for me? Thanks, guys. And this song slows it down even more for what is probably one of my favorite songs on the album. And there are some great melodic vocals that are kind of layered underneath the normal sort of David Sanchez venomous shouting that we are kind of used to at this point. And the midsection of this song is fucking massive. I always talk about those moments in a song where you go, there's a lot of those on this album. Next song is called Interface with the Infinite, and there's this killer tapping riff that goes throughout it. There's a lot of fucking great ideas on this album everywhere, which is part of what makes it, in my opinion, one of the most enjoyable albums that has come out so far this year. But also, with all of those ideas, they're never ideas that I necessarily expect. The songs don't take me where I expect them to go, but I totally dig where they do take me. In fact, there are pretty much too many moments throughout each track to mention them all in kind of a short form video. So instead of just going through every fucking song on the album, let's sum it up with this. This album is just filled with killer riffs, well-written songs, amazing performances across the board, a variety of songs, plenty of fucking gang vocals to shout along with, amazing production by Mark Lewis, and this artwork. Let's just take a moment. I mean, artwork of the year so far. And honestly, I was going with Testament for that for a while, but no, the more that I look at this one, the more I'm like, this is fucking killer. So for those of you who might be new to Havok, a couple songs to go check out just right off the bat, Ritual of the Mind and Cosmetic Surgery. Two of my favorites on the album, and Cosmetic Surgery has so many fucking killer riffs in it. So go check those out. You can also check out Phantom Force, which was the first song they released off of the album. That's also a really great thrashing kind of song. But to wrap it up, the question is, how does this album stand up to where I came into the Havok story with Conformicide? And honestly, at first, I missed a little bit of that sort of odd experimentation that was happening on the last record with songs like FPC and Ingsoc. But going back and listening to that album and this album, I realized that those were just a few moments on that album that I really appreciated and I kind of wish that they had moved forward with. But overall, this is a much tighter, well-written and well-performed album. And that says a lot because I fucking loved Conformicide. But I think after a few listens so far, 5 or V, however you're wanting to say it, is probably the best Havok album they've released. So there you go. Now, some of you may be asking, Steven, where's the vinyl? Well, unfortunately, I was one of those people that pre-ordered the crystal clear Coke bottle green swirl vinyl, and that shit has been pushed back to the middle of June. So maybe I'll just do another video where I talk about the vinyl, but unfortunately right now I'm empty-handed. So in conclusion, Havok 5, I'm gonna call it 5, okay? I don't know how the dudes are pronouncing it. If any of the dudes from Havok are watching this, correct me if 5 is incorrect, but you know, whatever. I don't think there's any rules here. I don't think David Sanchez would want you to feel like you're supposed to think one thing, because that's what the music's all about. Think for your fucking self. Anyway, I could go on forever about this album. I really, really, really enjoy this album. In fact, I enjoy it more with each listen. It's quickly moving up to where it could be my favorite album of the year so far. Yeah, let's just see how the rest of the year shapes up. We're in a very weird time, folks, so who knows what albums are going to be coming out and what's getting pushed back to whenever. But at this point in 2020, it's going to be hard to beat Havok. All right, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching my album review. Feel free to put your comments down below about what you thought about the album, but no matter what, go out and fucking listen to this thing. Yeah, take it from me. It's good shit. All right, thanks for watching. I will see you guys again very soon.